good.
We won, man. Wins are hard to come by, boy.
Lance, talk a little bit about your process. I mean, obviously things are not always happening out there the way you want them to, or throwing them off, and I'm sure it's making it challenging at times during games. Talk a little bit about the process you're going through.
Well, you look for matchups, you know. Look at what they're doing, and we knew they would take some shots downfield, and we needed to win some 50-50 balls. They hit a couple of them, and you know, it is what it is. You just fight back, and you start mixing up coverages, and kind of get a feel for what their plan of attack is. And you know, we came out the gates really fast, played real well early, and then they got one drive going, got in for a score, and then they caught fire a little bit and made some really good catches. So after halftime, kind of made some adjustments with some checks. After the first drive when they scored, really kind of settled into some things that kind of gave us the best chance to win. And just started mixing up a little bit. We started getting turnovers, started getting off the field. Third down, we were good, but you know, just kind of stopped the bleeding earlier a little bit. But started playing complementary football at the end too. Every time we would get a turnover, offense would go stick it in. So just finding a way to win. You know, it's not pretty, but the wins are the most important thing, and the guys are playing good enough to win at the end, and that's special. You know, they're showing that they're tough-minded and they don't quit, which is awesome.
When did college football become college basketball in the sense that we always talk about in basketball it's a game of runs?
Yeah.
In football, when you get up to 4 touchdowns, big thing, and then you go 3 points in your last 8 possessions.
Yeah, it's momentum swings, you know, and you've got to be able to change it. And a lot of times, really great players can change things, you know, so they wouldn't give us a chance to really rush the passer early. He was catching and throwing. I knew he would, you know, because they know we have a good front, so it was like catch and throw. Until we started getting up and they had to start going to like truly drop back passing, we were able to really pin our ears back. They stopped max protecting as much, and we was able to get to them, and we started creating some turnovers, so kind of outlasted them a little bit.
Can I follow up on that? It seems like the last couple of weeks on the broadcast, you'll hear Ruben Bain's name specifically pop up a lot, string of plays, 3 or 4 plays late third, fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Is that a product of what you were just saying, them having to drop back, or is that also a product of him just being relentless? Or is it now he's starting to wear on people? And
I think it's a little of both. I think he starts to wear on people because those linemen, they don't switch out. Offensive linemen usually stay in the game the whole time. We try to play multiple guys. Of course, Ruben plays a lot of snaps, but by the time we get to the fourth quarter, Ruben's fresher than them, and his athletic ability really takes over. And I think that's why probably at the end stretch, it seems like we get more pressure on the quarterback rushing forward, and they just start to wear down on people. So, you know, also he's a really good player. He kind of figures out which players, how they're trying to block him, you know, and he kind of double moves them and things like that.
It seems like it's been a bit of a trend this season where you guys will have like a rough first or second quarter, first half, and then whether you make adjustments and the second half have been a lot better. What could you attribute that to? Is it adjustments? Is it being fresh?
It's a multiple things. Some people they'll run different types of shot plays at us. Others they run their offense, and you may, like the other night, they made some really good catches in coverage, 3 for sure, you know. So it's usually about a quarter and a half it's been happening, you know. Like the other night, we started out real good. I think it was 3 minutes in the first quarter, and then they broke a tackle, and then we had a guy hurt. We didn't get a guy on the field, and then they get a shot on the sideline on Rich, and they got a score, and they caught fire a little bit, and we didn't really get the fire out till really after the first drive of the second half. I thought we had a good halftime adjustment, what we need to do, but we really need to take control of the game. When we fought back offensively and got ahead, we was really able to do some things we wanted to do because they had to get outside of what they were doing then. So.
And it seems like teams have done a good job of kind of like isolating and targeting Kiko in coverage. I guess how do you scheme to try to? Well,
they put a little fast kid, you know, the fast running back out there, and you've got to, if you're man coverage, unless you're checking some type of zone, the linebacker's got to cover the running back, unless we can get it switched with him and the tight end. It just so happened Kiko was on the good fast running back, and made a good throw. Kiko almost got through his hands and got the ball out, so it just is what it is.
How tough was it to give us a timetable?
Sir?
Mario didn't give us a timetable. He said
Well, if he didn't give you one, I don't know.
I'm here to
You try to get me in trouble.
I am not here to get With the expectation that you'll be down the corner, how concerning is that at this time of year?
We've been down corners from the beginning of the football season.
Another corrections.
You know. So we'll get another player out there and we're gonna play. We're gonna have a, you know, it's just the way it is. Nobody's gonna feel sorry for you. So we're gonna do the best job we can. We're gonna scheme up with what we got and we're gonna go out there and try to pull this thing off.
How tough was it though to see him go down the way he did, considering what he's been doing?
Yeah, he's been playing well. You know, he's gotten better and better the more snaps he's played. So had a good pick, had some good pass breakups on 3rd and 5. So yeah, we hate to see him go down, but got to find another way to get it done.
Along those lines, you're trying to develop depth, you're trying to develop your younger players, and you're up 14-0 the other day, and made some relatively wholesale personnel changes in the lineup, and it went at the snap of a finger. I mean, and changed the whole game, and it was a 28-3 run before you were able to stop the bleeding. How do you manage that? I mean, obviously you have to develop depth. Guys get hurt. You have to develop your younger
You
players.
just stay positive and you keep coaching. And you, on the back of my call sheet, I've got every defense we've ever put in, and I'll start flipping over and I'll start looking like what they're doing, what we have, and I just go from there. And boom. Jason the other night said, "Lance, how about this?" I looked at it, said, "Yeah, that's it." Boom, found it, and then we started doing some things. And so it's collectively between all the coaches. I think they do a really good job of giving feedback. And then sometimes you got to search within your game plan. Don't always work. I always said that. They're going to have a different deal that they're going to come at you with. You got to find things to cancel out things. What you have sometimes is matchups that you got to help guys on matchups. You know, so you just gotta keep working. You work from the beginning of the game to the end.
But now the stakes, because of the success so far this season, the stakes are getting bigger.
It's bigger every
week.
It's 1-0.
Like, does that change the dynamic?
It's 1-0. It was big from the first game against Florida. It's where we're at. I mean, everybody wants to look at the end product. It ain't it every week. That's what we've been preaching, you know. So we got 9 wins. We're looking for number 10. You know, 1-0 each week. You got to stay that way. You can't look at the who we're going to play in the conference championship, where we'll be seated. Nah. You got to go each and every week. You got to go every day, one day at a time, and just try to get better. And you've got to stay that way. You can't look ahead. I know fans like to do that, and if I was a fan, I'd probably do the same thing. But I mean, in our business, it's an everyday deal. There's a process. There's a process on Sunday. There's a process on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all the way to Saturday. Once you get to Saturday, the game ain't over to the end. You're working all the way through it. You know, the game plan wasn't all the way in until Saturday in the last 4th quarter. So I mean, it's just the nature of it. You've got to find things to win games.
You just mentioned Coach Taylor. Obviously, coaches in the defensive line. Just how valuable is having a set of eyes like that that's seen so much football?
Oh, him and you know, D. Nix played a long time as well, and Chevis has played a long time as well. You know, Jason's going to see things from the defensive front most of the time. Chevis is going to see things from the back. D. Nix kind of in the middle of everything. So we all see it differently at different things, but you know, sometimes guys will come up with an idea that you ain't thought of, and that's why, you know, you cannot be what I call a boss. I'm a leader, you know. So a leader, you gotta be a servant leader, but you also gotta be a listener. And if someone recommend it and I agree with it, we going with it. It's not whose idea it is; it's our idea. So D. Nix made a bunch of great adjustments on the sideline that we needed to, and Chevis on the back end, how we're going to play certain things in some games. So the other night was big, though.
It seemed like during the Duke game, you were mixing up a lot of 1 high, 2 high looks. When you evaluated after watching, was one more successful than the other on Saturday? Or?
No, not really. They can get you to show most of the time. They go 2x2 set. It's hard to hide a post safety look, because if you put a backer outside the box, you're in a 5-man box, they know pretty much you're going to stay in a 2 shell. And if you have a backer near the box, they know you're going to spin their post safety. So, like, they know. They'll get really, really wide, so you have to show your hand. 3x1 is, you know, it's different. You can hide things. 2x2, pretty much show by. All coaches know that. Shannon does it all the time. Shannon loves to get in 2x2 because it's going to kind of show the tail of the tape. Even though you try to hide things, it's going to show because you got to start cheating certain guys.
We get what coaches say 1-0, and we get what coaches understand. How the heck did you get kids to buy into that sort of thinking? Because kids are not usually wired that way.
No, but college football eats up so much of their time to where they don't have a lot of free time. So they look at social media and things like that. I mean, they know early in the morning they're going to have to come in and get breakfast, and we're going to start early. And they're going to go each day at a time, and after that, they're going to come back and get some film later on in the evening. So they live one day at a time. They just don't have all that free time that, people may think they have. They don't practice in the morning, we don't see them again. That's not the way it is. So it's really a daily deal. I mean, they're trying to get through because they're tired. I mean, you start getting to the, 10th game of the season, you start to get run down a little bit. And so you got to refresh them. We let Coach Rump come in today. He wanted to talk to the guys, and Coach Rump's won national championships, played in the NFL, he's played a lot of games in a season. So he came in and talked to him about exactly that in defense, about how you make practice fun and just working on your fundamentals and your technique. And you gotta, you're gonna get tired, but everybody's tired at this point in the season. Just kind of giving feedback of his experiences, which I thought was awesome, really awesome. So we use everybody in the building for sure.
Last year, you guys faced off against Georgia Tech. Obviously.
Did you see him Cam Kitchens last night? 103-yard touchdown. Did you see that?
2 picks.
All right, all right. Go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
No, obviously, what are your thoughts on this year's offense? Obviously, his health is in question, but what did you think?
Wide receiver's really fast. Golly, really fast. But he was fast last year. He's faster this year. They're good at wide out. They got some speed. Offensive line's tough. Haynes kid, he's a competitor. I've been knowing his daddy since I was probably in college. His daddy played in Northwestern State. He's a high school coach in Longview, and they're just tough people, always been. And his son's that. He's a battler. He's been out for a while, but I'm sure he wants to play this one. The backup's really good as well. And then the running back's fast, really fast. And so we got our hands full. We're putting together a good plan, matching up some personnel things that we need to do, and we'll be ready to go.
Did you get any intel from Haynes King's dad about whether he's playing this week?
We don't talk. We don't talk like that. But my first year as a college coach, I had a defense coordinator named Scott Stoker, who I worked for, and he actually was a quarterback, and Haynes' dad was the center in Northwestern State. So I've been kind of close to Coach King for a while. And his son is tough just like him.
And then, Booker Pickett got his first sack the other
Right.
night. And, how have you seen his development progress, and how have you seen similar question, like the development for the other freshman linemen, like Justin Scott coming on the team?
Yeah, it's good to see Book come in there. He looked fast off the edge. But again, the offensive line started to get tired, and you bring a fresh body in, which looked good. And all those guys keep getting better. The longer we play, the more reps they get. That's what's always good about bowl games too, is you get to work those freshmen even more and more and more. OJ's worked a little too much. He's had a lot of snaps, but those kids are getting better and better. You see Zaquan came on the field, looked really fast, really physical, was playing at a high level, and he gets better and better, but we're bringing him along on his timing, not really our timing or anybody else's timing. So he's getting closer and closer to being what we all think, that he can be and should be.
You referenced a couple of times that this is the time of year where people start to wear down.
Yeah.
Everyone can understand that. Is it wild to you that there are teams out there that still have 7 or 8 games left to play?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's really crazy.
I don't want to get in the way of want to know it all, but
No.
somebody's going to play 17.
Yeah, that's a lot of football, man. That's a lot of football. It's a lot of football for the coaches. It's a lot of cords you got to draw. It's a lot of stuff. But we just got to look at it. We play this week, and the next week we have an open week, a bye week, and we get ready for the last 2, and then you go from there. You just keep trying to win each one that you can. You go 1-0 mentality, and you don't get very many opportunities to win 10 games in a season. You don't. There's a lot of really good football teams that have, but that's really hard to do, to win 10 games in a season. And we're coming up on the 10th game that we have a chance to win. And then anything after that is awesome. So 10 was a mark. I'm not going to say I thought we could get to it, but that was kind of the goal, get 10 wins. We say last year, the first year you come into a program, you lose by a lot. The next year you lose by a little. And next year you win by a little. Well, we're winning by a little and a lot sometimes, but there's definitely some littles in there. But you know, you never know how you're going to win it. You don't know from season to season. But I tell you what, Cam Ward is special. That's a special young man.
And how are you managing the confusion that's come up at times in games?
You got to stay calm. You know, it's going to be, we're at war. And in war, there's going to be casualties. And there's going to be things that you haven't expected. And there's going to be things that go wrong that you worked on a lot, but you got to just reiterate to them, look, go back to your rules, go back to your technique, go back to your fundamentals, kind of calm it down, and then you just kind of starts clicking again. So there's no magic to it. You just got to keep working through it, and sometimes it's a little bit psychological.
You
know?
just,
It really is.
Do a couple more.
You mentioned kind of Zaquan Patterson. Obviously, him and OJ are both true freshmen.
Mhm.
Just, have you ever had, a secondary where two true freshmen are, expected to play, such a big role? And just what are your thought process on?
I wouldn't think on this level, that you would have that. You know what I mean? Like there would be more here in the cupboard that you wouldn't have to go over. But sometimes guys are really special, which I do think they're both really good football players. But you got to catch them up to speed. Very few places I've ever been, you've had to play a freshman. From the very get-go. Usually, kind of works his way into it. So that's really special what OJ's doing. I think it is. And Zaquan continues to work. Got a great mindset about it. Hasn't complained at all. Didn't compare himself. Well, OJ's playing starting, and I'm not angry. None of that. Safety's harder to learn in the corner. Safety's got a lot of checks and things, but Zaquan's been doing awesome. And I appreciate him for his patience.
Anything else?
Coach Dawson revealed that he prefers a state medium to medium plus. Some of us scoffed at that, given the state preference.
I'm a medium guy.
I don't need to start a schism.
Nah, I'm a medium guy, I guess. To me, it's.
You know, for cooking.
I really eat crawfish. Can't get crawfish all the time. I'm a medium guy. Yes, sir.